Hi, I'm back for another video. One I wish I never had to make in the first place. See, the UFC held their first ever show on November 12, 1993 at McNichols Arena in Denver, Colorado. They just recently completed their 100th show on November 17th, 2007. Only 3 days later, at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas, Sam Vasquez suffered injuries in a fight that led to his eventual death on November 30th. I want to take this moment to express my sincerest condolences to both his friends and family. He was only 35 years old at the time. I could only imagine the pain that everybody involved is going through because of this tragedy. I never met the guy, and I shed a tear. I have the deepest respect for anyone with the courage to step into a cage or ring, be it pro wrestling, boxing, Muay Thai, and of course MMA. Now, many people are now renewing their campaigns to have mixed martial arts banned. While I understand why they feel the way they do, this begins a very slippery slope. If we make MMA illegal, why not boxing? There have been many more deaths involved with that sport. Why not rodeo? NASCAR? Football? A coach recently died after complications from being hit in the head with a batted baseball. Might as well cancel baseball while we're at it, because it's too dangerous. As you could probably figure out, all sports bring with them varying levels of risk. But the media always seems to focus on combat sports. UFC getting the brunt of the bad press. What many people fail or refuse outright to realize is that this was the very first casualty in a sanctioned MMA contest. This proves that it is an isolated, albeit horrific, incident. Of course, like any other sport, there are injuries that can and will happen from time to time. The participants involved are fully aware of the risk ahead of them, but like any other sport, there are various measures in place to minimize it. When politicians were calling for the end of the UFC during its early years, they had many valid points. Early on, the promotion was being marketed for the blood and violence, not as a sport. No holds barred, no rules, and that type of nonsense. One fight actually saw someone win by punching his opponent repeatedly in the groin. Rough. That being said, there was only one prior death, and never before in the U.S. Douglas Dedge, God rest his soul, died after an unsanctioned bout in the Ukraine held March 18, 1998. Make no mistake about it, I don't support unsanctioned fights. They give the sport a very bad name. There have been rules implemented to protect the fighters. There are sanctioning bodies throughout the world in place to enforce these rules, as well as drug testing and screening for pre-fight health conditions. Although there are still bloody fights and vicious knockouts, there are always doctors at ringside to make sure the cuts are closely monitored. Referees often stop fights much sooner than the fans would prefer, feeling it's better to be cautious rather than take unnecessary risks. They also have to be good athletes, often diving in the middle of a scrum when someone is showing signs of not being coherent or able to defend intelligently. The bottom line is this: if you don't like the idea of watching the sport of mixed martial arts, don't watch it. But know the facts before making assumptions. Many of mine were obtained from SureDog.com, a great promoter of my second favorite sport. Of course, my deepest love is still for professional wrestling. On a side note, I beg all backyard wrestlers to stop immediately. Without proper training, you're taking such a risk of permanent injury. It's risky enough if you're trained. Go to a wrestling school. Learn how to do it right. Know the facts. And if you still want to chase your dream, do your thing. The right way. If you live in New Jersey, check out aceprowrestling.com to find out how. There's wrestling schools all across the country, in fact the world. Thanks again to all of you who have supported my work. If just one person is better informed as a result of watching this video, it's worth all the time I put into this, 1,000-fold. For those of you who are wondering where the comedy went, be patient. It will be back before you know it. There just happened to have been a few recent incidents that happened recently that I wanted to rant about. See y'all soon. Expect something a little lighter, probably later today. Bye.